Good day, fellow amateurs. This is the Amateur Gardener. Today we'll be planting Sansevierias. It has many names. First, let's start with its botanical name. It is known as the Sansevieria trifasciata. Its more common name is the snake plant, or another common name is mother-in-law's tongue. Now, this is a tale of two pots. Same plant, same pot size, but different kinds of soil. So this one is not as healthy as the other one. It's kind of shriveled up. It's yellowing. Now, the first pot was planted in garden soil. It has 3 plants in it, the mother plant, and I'm going to separate it from its babies into 3 pots. And then here's the second pot, which is not doing so well. So we'll be taking care of this one first, since it needs a lot of TLC. Now, Sansevierias like sandier soil, and so that's what we're going to give it. Right now, I'm loosening it from this pot. As you can see, it's really gross and mushy because it's kind of clayish and it's been retaining a lot of water because of the rains. And algae has formed on top. Now, algae can form on soils that are always wet and exposed to the sun. Here I am. I'm inspecting it, checking out if anything is rotten. Do I have to cut out stuff? This one, maybe I'll keep it just for a while, but eventually I'll cut that out. Now, I'll be using garden soil. Although I know I said they like sandier soil, but I will be adding some garden soil. This one's a bit clayish. It has nutrients, that's why I'll be adding it. And the rice hulls and the rice husks will help aerate the soil. This has been pre-mixed with some sand, so that's going to help. And I'll be adding more sand as well, so it'll get the soil it likes. But at the same time, providing it with the nutrients that garden soil can give. So here's its new mix. You may want to add more sand than I'm adding here because my rice husks and hulls have already been pre-mixed with some sand. So you might be wondering, oh, why don't you add more sand? That's the reason why. So what you're seeing here, you may want to add more. Now, rice hulls have silica, which can strengthen those cell walls of your plants, which is good because they'll be more resistant to droughts. So that's a good thing. And here's the sand. You may want to add more than what I'm adding if you don't have like other amendments like the rice husks that have been pre-mixed with sand. All right, so here's a quick mix, quick but thorough mix. We'd like it thorough, and I'll be adding a little more because I'll be needing more than what I placed in there. Now, there's my Sansevieria. Now, they're primarily native to the tropical areas of West Africa, although you may see them in other countries and continents, America and Australia and Asia. Now, these are evergreen perennials. Evergreen meaning they have green leaves all year round, and perennials meaning they last for a long time, unlike annuals, which you plant the seeds in spring and then after winter they die and you have to plant a new plant all over again. So these are perennials. They last for as long as they could, depending on how much you care for them. Now, this is the only seed left. Oh, poor thing. I don't know where the others are. There are flowers there weeks ago, and that's its seed. That's one way of growing new Sansevierias. So now I'm loosening it from the pot. This is the mother plant with its 2 babies, which have grown already. So it's time for them to leave the nest and not divide the space with its mom since it's so tiny already. And I'm trying to study how to loosen it without breaking any of the roots. Of course, you can't, when you're repotting, sometimes it can't be avoided, breaking some roots. Now there, I'm checking the hole. If you see any roots down there, that means the roots have been pot bound. They're all tight inside and crowded. And this root on top is a sign that the mother plant was having a hard time with the cramped space. So it's time for the babies to go on their own and live in their own home. There, I got it free without breaking the pot. Hand clap for me. And yes, of course, a 2 thumbs up. So, there are my Sansevierias. If you'll notice, in spite of the cramped space, they were doing much better than the other Sansevieria that was alone. That's what healthier soil or better soil can do for you. Here are their big roots. They look like turmeric. And they're the finer roots. It's beautiful, isn't it? So I'm trying to study how to separate these 3 from each other. I'm loosening some of the soil. Ideally, there I am trying to get out as much soil as I can. It would have been easier if I wet the soil so that it would be easier to loosen them from each other. But that's not what I did. Impatient little me said, I can do it. And with one tug, boom, that's what happened. I broke a root. I'm sorry. You know, they say patience is a virtue. So planting plants or taking care of plants will hopefully give me more patience. Okay, so that's what happened, but it's fine. You know, these plants are conquerors. It will live, believe me. Nothing like a tough Sansevieria. You know, if they're people, they're full of grit. They don't die easily. So these are good for beginners. Now, this is its child, its baby rather. And the other one's on the ground. And I'm making a new mix for them. Is the garden soil again. And the one I got is slightly clayish. So I have to add stuff to it. Amendments, as we call them. And you've seen me do that earlier. And I'm just doing it again. Now, you can water these once a week. Once they're established, and when the surface is dry. But for the first week after repotting, I'll be watering them every day. They prefer warm temperatures of 20 to 30 degrees Celsius or 70 to 90 Fahrenheit, and they might not do so well in temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius or 50 degrees Fahrenheit, and you may want to water them once a month during winter. They can survive with low light, partial shade, and some direct sunlight. I have those 3 locations in my gardens, and they all have Sansevierias, and believe me, they are amazing. They are amazing. Well, you've seen my other Sansevieria survive the other pot. They are amazing. These plants, truly tough plants. Warning though, it is mildly to slightly toxic, can cause nausea, swelling, vomiting, and diarrhea when ingested, so do keep them away from your pets and small children. Now, Sansevierias were one of the plants chosen by NASA to study its ability to purify air, and it does it by absorbing toxins like formaldehyde and benzene, and they can produce oxygen both day and night. Other plants only do it during the daytime, and they can do it 24/7. These are the 2 babies. This is the mother plant, and this is a plant that's finally in its new home. It'll get more TLC than it did before, and they're going on there for their roof shot. This is day 1, and after 5 days, you'll see that the plant on the right, which is a sickly plant, is doing much better. The 2 babies are starting to spread out a little more, and the mother plant is just enjoying all the space, all to herself, just enjoying her alone time. Anyway, so that's a Sansevieria trifasciata for some, and I hope you get to repot your plants that need a little more TLC. Hope you enjoyed your time with us. Have a good day.